3 hours. Three is a good
Yeah,
amount.
3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
Guys,
How long do you want it to be?
I don't know. I'm chill. Let's just go with the flow and see how long we take.
Okay, so let's shoot for three then. Shoot for three.
Not three.
Nah, it's never reached that far. I think the maximum we've had is 2.
It's like a 2 hour episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a lot going on. I think there was like a brief period where we lost connection for a whole like 20 minutes, maybe.
Wow. I see. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Let's get this down.
Welcome to this week's episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you wherever you're joining us from. So we love the support. We love everything you're doing. And just keep on supporting the channel. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this content because we believe these are the conversations that everybody out there needs to hear. And we're just here to bring these conversations to your attention, and hopefully one or two people can learn one or two things. So our guest today is somebody amazing. He's from the motherland.
Yes, sir.
And I'll just allow him to introduce himself. Matanda, bro. Introduce yourself. Let people know who you are.
Hi guys. My name is Matanda Phiri. I'm from Lusaka, Zambia. I'm the last born in a family of 8. I currently attend the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. I'm a rising junior. For those of you back home, basically a third year, majoring in computer science and mathematics. That's basically me.
Okay.
University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff. How did you get there, bro?
How did I get there? So it's a long story. Since we have time, I'll give you the long version, not the short version.
Yes.
I graduated high school in 2019. Right after I completed high school, I was top of my class. I went to Charleston Secondary School, by the way. So only me and one other guy at my school had 6 points, and we were like over 600 students at my school. So I was really excited, and I knew I wanted to study in the USA. My dream was to go to MIT. Everyone who knows me back home knows about that. So I applied to Education USA through the US Embassy. I'm sure you guys are aware of that program. I got accepted into the program, wrote my SATs, applied to a lot of schools, got rejected from all of them, or partial scholarships. After that, I was a bit disappointed, but then a friend of mine told me about the New Seasons Youth Program, and I was like, what's that? And I said, just apply, like, today's the deadline. So I was actually applying on the deadline. I did my essay, submitted everything they asked for, and I interviewed with Ray Jackson, who is the founder of the program. And I waited for the results. When the results came out, I was actually selected second. I came out second place in the selection process for my intake. And initially, I was a bit beat up about that. Like, I thought I'd come out first. But then when I got here, I realized how big of a deal that was, considering the talent NSYP has, the New Seasons Youth Program. Like, they're just crazy smart people. I don't even believe I deserve that spot anymore. But so once I entered NSYP, I was offered a scholarship through NSYP to University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, which I accepted, and now I'm here.
Wow. Very competitive person you are, eh?
Yeah, I can be at times.
Where did that passion to want to study in the US come from?
Why
Like,
did that passion?
why study in the US?
Why not University of Zambia?
Yeah.
Why not University of Zambia? So, um, it's actually funny how how the dream to study at MIT came about. So when I was young, I don't know if you guys have seen the series Modern Family.
I've seen some episodes.
I have
Yeah.
not.
So one of the daughters in Modern Family was taking a tour at MIT, and then they're talking about how all the smart people from the world are there and all this tech stuff, and that really ignited like a curiosity in me. So at first it was just shallow like that, but then when I grew older, like 11th grade, 12th grade, then I
Yeah.
started to really look into it, and then I saw the amount of opportunities, like the opportunities that we get here. For instance, right now I'm doing an internship where I'm getting paid real money. Such opportunities wouldn't be available for me back home. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, the US seemed like the place to be, especially as a person who's into tech. Like, this is the heart of tech right now. Like, we have Silicon Valley and a lot of tech stuff going on here. So, yeah, that just kept me focused on America.
How did you manage to keep that dream going, even though you had so much, like you said, rejections? Because so many people give up after rejections. Um, if it hadn't been for that friend of yours who told you to apply to an SYP, like what was your plan after that?
What was my plan after that? Actually, NSYP was actually plan B. Plan A
Mm.
was just to reapply again. Like I
Okay.
was going to keep trying until I eventually got it. I feel like I was just aware of what I wanted from the get go. It was Onza was the last choice.
Yeah.
And so I was going to try. Even if I went to UNZA first year, I was still going to be applying. And I feel like there are such stories among us in NSYP, like people who wanted to come here, they go to UNZA, but they still keep applying. Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been my story if I didn't get it. Because I knew the opportunities here would beat anything we have back home.
Yeah. And then when it comes to the interest in tech, that's also not something a lot of people are interested in, especially from our country. We are more so on the application. Can I call it application? We are more so on the application of the already existing technologies. So where did that interest in trying to learn more about the tech world and trying because this is a conversation we've had before, and I know some of the stuff you're doing, your interest in AI, machine learning, like where did all that interest come from? Did you have anyone that you looked up to growing up who did such things, or like where does that interest come from?
Actually, no, I didn't have anyone I looked up to who's in tech. Everyone in my family is a biology person, so you have microbiologists, doctors, and stuff like that. So there wasn't really anyone in the technical side like engineering or CS. But
Hmm.
my passion for tech, it's actually a funny story how it started. So the first time I can remember gaining a real interest in tech was this time my big brother got his first laptop, and then you know how laptops have audio dictionaries, right?
Yeah.
Um, so my mom asked me to do something, and I was like, no. And then she was like, if you say no again, I'll whip you. Can you do the thing? So what I did was I used the audio dictionary, and I made the laptop say no for me. Like, so technically,
You're not the
You
one
didn't
that said
say no.
no.
yeah, technically I'm not the one that's saying no. And and I feel like such small interactions with computers um,
Yeah.
allowed me to think like, if I'm able to say no with the computer, what more could the computer allow me to do? And I feel with that came with or that ignited more curiosity. I remember in grade 9, like my favorite subject was computer studies.
Yeah.
Like the passion for computer science has always been there. And then AI, I'm big on accessibility when it comes to computing. I'd like everyone to have access to computers so that many can have gained the opportunities I did to have passion in computing and hopefully follow a career in it. So, and I believe that AI is key to accessibility. Like if we have computers that are able to think and interact with humans the way we interact with each other, I believe everyone get a greater computing experience. And so that's why I'm into AI, and that's how I got into computer science.
It's an interesting intersection as well, where you put all that and then you add math to it. Because in my in my experience, math explains the world better than any other science. I think math is a science. It just quantifies things, right? So, how has been your experience adding math to the whole equation of things?
Adding math to the equation of things.
Yeah,
I think Jackson can back me up on this one when I say computer science is basically math on steroids. That's what people say. It's basically math. So adding math to the equation has it's been interesting. For most people that ask, I usually say that the math component of my degree is far harder than the CS component. I went into it saying, no, I'm good at math. I got a 1 in grade 12. And this, now I'm spending 8 hours solving one question. I'm being humbled. But
yeah,
it's really interesting because I think the whole purpose of math, it teaches you how to think. And so I feel like it's helping me all around in the sense that the better I'm becoming at math or the math component of my degree, the better problem solver of a problem solver I become, which is really making me a better programmer. I feel like um, these two fields are very closely related. So
yeah.
they interplay with one another. Like I believe the better you're at programming, logical thinking, you'll be a better mathematician. The better you're at mathematics, the better you're at problem solving, you'll be a good computer scientist. And so it's really like a dance between the two majors I'm in, and I'm enjoying the ride.
Sweet. Jackson would yeah, go ahead, Jackson.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on that. Like I hear people saying the things we learn in mathematics. I don't apply this. How am I going to
Yeah.
apply simultaneous equations in life? The purpose of mathematics, what it does, it helps us think and solve problems. So when people ask about how am I going to use simultaneous equations, you think about simultaneous equations. Like at the core of it, what is simultaneous equations?
Yeah.
You are you are given two scenarios. You don't know what the outcome is going to be, and you have to figure out the outcome based on some things you have. We encounter this every day in life, but because we don't think beyond like the applications of stuff, we don't see the process you take to solve simultaneous equations would be the same you take to make life
Yeah.
decisions. And people say, no, we don't see this and that. And I'm glad that our degree, computer science, like helps us see the intersection, between these two. You are a problem solver, and computer science is about creating things from nothing, using the problem solving techniques you learned in mathematics. You bridge those together, you're able to create magic, like saying no to your mom without using alphabets.
Yeah, and I feel like that's one of the pitfalls of our education system. I would actually blame our education system in the sense that we're not taught how to actually apply the mathematics in real life. Like the first time I saw application of mathematics in the sense of how do we use maybe linear equations to model a real life situation was when I encountered the SAT. I was like, what's this? Like, I couldn't solve any math question on the SAT, but Ninaja one could grade top. And so I was like, what's this? And then, so what I did is like, I used Khan Academy and studied the entire math curriculum for American high school from like algebra one until I feel like introductory calculus. And then I realized that, oh, I already know this stuff. It's just that I didn't know how to apply it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like more people have to be exposed. It actually makes the math more interesting when you're able to model it in real life.
Yeah, like I said, math explains the world around us. It
Yeah,
quantifies it, and sometimes our human brains cannot understand something without quantifying it or putting a number to it, and math does that. You know, if I tell you the time is 1 p.m., that's a it's quantifiable, so you understand it better. So I feel like math really does that. But yeah, maybe our education. So what would you suggest our education system does differently then?
What would I suggest our education system does differently? Um, First of all, I would say focus on mastery, like for advancement. This is an idea by Salman Khan. I'm sure you guys know him. He's like the founder of Khan Academy. So, of
I
course,
do.
Jackson knows him as a CS major.
Yeah.
You just have to.
Yeah, Salman Khan is the founder of Khan Academy, which is like one of the biggest online learning platforms.
Yeah.
Um, so I'd say focus on mastery because most of the time the student might not. The only time you get actually tested is at grade 7, grade 9, and grade 12. So I would feel like rather than just saying at the end of the year each student moves on, I would rather say like students are able to move at their own pace in the sense that once you've mastered the concept, you're allowed to advance to higher concepts. I don't know how that would play out in the real world, but I believe that would give students room to learn at their own pace so that they're not just advancing and then they're leaving blind spots behind. Second of all, like I said, I feel it would be beneficial if they are able to show students how all the stuff they learn plays out in the real world. Like rather than learning y is equals to mx plus c, you can show them how you can use that to say if you rent a car, that's X amount, you pay X starting fee. Then after every hour, you pay this much. That's the equation of a straight line. Basically, you'd use that to model such a situation. I feel like that would allow students to see how what they learn actually works in the real world and give them more interest. And it will also open up people's minds to more careers because I'm sure you're aware of the problem back home. Like everyone wants to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. No one
Yeah.
wants. No one in high school is saying I want to be a mathematician or a physicist. So I feel like those are the key things we should focus on: mastery and then modeling into the real world.
So how did you navigate not falling in that trap of, doing what everyone else is doing? Because I'm sure it was pretty easy. You're top of the class. Everyone is going one way. Even though you had your dreams, but how did you navigate that?
Yeah, I even had a low key argument with my mom once because I also applied to UNZA. Of course, I did, but at UNZA, she wanted me to apply as a med student. But I was like, no, I don't want to be a med student.
Yeah.
And so I still applied for computer science even when I applied to UNZA. And she was like, okay, you're on your own if you're not able to find a job and stuff like that. I was like, anyway, things worked out. I'm here now, thank God. Um, but I guess I was just it's a thing of I knew what I wanted to do because even some of my teachers like when I went back to school to get my results are like, what do you want to do? And all my friends would be like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, an economist. And then when it came to me, I like computer scientist and I say, who doesn't know how to use a computer? Are you telling me you do not use Excel? It would always be such comments and stuff. But
Yeah.
in the back of my mind, like I had inspirations. Like I see the things that happen in the USA, like Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, like the changes they are creating. And I believe that no matter where I am, even if I was at UNZA, like being at UNZA wouldn't stop me from creating solutions using computer science. And so I always saw myself creating things for my people or the people of Zambia using computer science, despite where I am. So even if I didn't find a job after college, I would be okay with that. I probably stay with my mom until my app blows up or something. Yeah.
So then, on that topic, right, there are a lot of people back home who start or who've done computer science in the past 4 or 5 years, and like you've put it, the opportunities to do hands-on work, like like great internships that you're doing and that you have been doing, they don't have as much opportunity as that. What would you advise them? And Jackson, you can also pitch in because this is your area as well. I know it's a very practical field. They can start up their own projects, but sometimes you just need some sort of guidance. So, what would you guys say in terms of starting up projects or keeping busy uh, if you don't have an internship or work?
What would I tell them? So here, internships are a really big deal. Like in the American education system, you just have to get an internship. But okay, I'll say what I would be doing if I was back home and didn't have an internship. So and maybe they can model from that. So if, in the case, or even here, if I didn't have an internship, in the case I didn't have an internship, I would focus more on growing my skill set, like just learning, spend your time learning and building projects. Because CS, I believe, is a field where you don't have to wait for anyone to teach you or show you. Like it's so vast. Your curriculum can only cover so much. And so find your interests and work on projects in that. I'm sure Jackson can attest to this, that he didn't learn everything he knows from school. Like it was just in his free time working on his own projects. And so work on projects. If you have a group of friends, working in teams is also one of the key things you get from an internship experience. So even as you're working on those projects, don't isolate yourself. Work with your friends to get a feel of what working with others is like. And also don't wait for jobs. Even when you graduate, that's one of the things I tell people. It might be hard, but try to build stuff for yourself. Eventually it will pan out well for you. Where there's a will, there's a way. Like just
Yeah.
build stuff, build as much as you can, and eventually you'll build gold.
All right. Jack?
Yeah, I was actually having a conversation with my designer friend. He's a designer, he does all these, graphics and all that stuff. And I told him, you know what the difference is between designers and programmers? The difference is that designers, they hide their thing, their project. They hide that because it's so particular to them. If you make something that is exactly the same as the designer, you're gonna clash and you're gonna have, some confrontation. But programmers, we encourage that. Well, like I've created this, guys, see what I've created. Can you replicate this to make something of your own and model it to what you want it to be? And that is one thing I love about my field. Because we have so much resources out there. Like I think absolutely anything you want to create, somebody's created a version of it out there. And all you can do is just look at how he did it and see like, oh, I think in my mind, the changes I would like to bring to what he did is ABCD. You can get that as the foundation and build on top of that. So the people back home who are doing computer science and something related, there's so much resource out there. You can literally build anything you want to build without getting a job. There's so much out there, so much codes, there's so much platforms you can go to ask questions to get. There is so much resource for us out there. You just need to have a vision and then tailor whatever is out there to what your vision is. You can build anything. You are into games, you can build games. You are into websites, you can build websites. You are into apps, you can build apps. You can literally do anything. So if you're in computer science, bro, you don't have to wait for people out there to tell you what to do. Whatever you are thinking in your mind, you can bring that to life with technology. So just start doing some stuff out there. There's a lot of free resources out there. You don't have to wait for a job or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So you guys are not waiting for jobs then?
Nah.
like we learn more by doing projects. Like what we learn in class is the foundation. They teach you 10%. And then after that is how you apply that 10% to grow it and reach the levels you want to reach. And most of the time that we spend outside internships and classrooms, it's building on top of what we've learned. So they teach you, for example, they teach you data structures. No, there's a set, there's a dictionary. Yeah, that's good to know, but how can you use that in the real
Yeah.
world? Then that's why we're tapping with our own child now. Like, oh, so if I want to create a database for people to do ABCD, I need a dictionary with so and so kids. Then you start applying those. That's how you grow and learn more, and then you start, applying whatever knowledge you learned to the real world scenarios. That's how technology is born. That's how when Zuckerberg created their Facebooks, that's how they created the Microsoft, the Apples and other stuff. They applied the little that did, and then they amplified it to whatever solution they wanted to bring out there.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that people like Mark Zuckerberg, who created Facebook while he was in college, it's not like he had his degree. If he was waiting to say, let me get my degree before I build anything, would we have had Facebook by now? So work on those projects while you're still in school with the knowledge you have. You'll be surprised what you'll be able to do and what you'll be able to learn by simply using the tools you currently have.
And I hear this excuse from most people who are doing computer science back home. They're like, no, you guys are picking from a point of uh what is this called, luxury or something like that. Like, you guys have this opportunity. That's why you're saying that. I'm like, no. You see one thing with technology, you can build it, you can start the foundation. You might not be the one to finish it, but you can
Yeah.
benefit from the end product. So you can start the idea and you can start having conversation with people. Like, I have this idea, and if you love the idea so much, Parker is so cheap to patent something. Excuse me, it's so cheap to patent something. So if you believe in what you're creating, you can go to Parker and tell them, yes, I have this idea. I want to patent it. I want it to be my name. You can do that. It's cheap to do that. But what I'm trying to drive at is that once you have that idea, you can start having conversation. If you don't want to be the one to build it, you can start having conversation with people. You have friends of friends, you have different places to be exposed to that you can preach this to them and tell them, guys, I'm thinking of this. I think if this was implemented, it can solve ABCD. And in those conversations, somebody will agree with what your thought is, and you never know what they can do with that idea. So don't just, we're saying build these things, but don't just build them and just sit at home and hope magic will happen. Magic doesn't happen where you put some work in it. You need to do something outside whatever you're doing if you want it to grow. If you want to sell it, people sell apps for millions of kwatas and dollars. So if
Yeah.
you want to sell it, you can sell it.
Well, let's take it a step further and say, there's this person. He's been building things. He's been active, but he's frustrated, right? He's been doing that for the past 5 years. Nothing is coming out of it. What would you tell such a person?
I'd say keep building. And first of all, you have to don't just build. It's also a problem when you're just building and you're not sitting down to reflect on what's working and what isn't working. Don't just
Yeah,
build one app, it fails, you go to the next one. Like always
Or you
take it
rebuild
step.
the same thing.
You build the same thing. And also another thing most CS majors don't understand, or a lot of people like, yeah, in Zambia, but you're building a web browser. Like we already have Google. Like why you build? No one will use your web browser. Like computer computer science is I believe is the best problem solver. Look at problems within your community. Like
Mhm.
you can't you can't build an app like you're building for Americans. You're building Tinder or something. Like we have real problems that people actually want solved.
yeah,
And so don't look at it from Mark Zuckerberg was building Facebook. I'm going to build a social network. No, you
Eh,
you won't compete in that field.
exactly that.
Look at problems in your community. Maybe there's a way you can use tech to show people where water is available. Like maybe if water is out in a certain place of the city, your app will say, oh, this place has water, this place has water. Like such simple solutions. But it's something that people where you are actually need. So
yeah,
don't just build apps for the sake of feeling good about yourself or showing that you have the skills. Build apps that are actually relevant to the community where you are and that people actually need. I feel you will find better results. And if you're doing that, keep doing it. Don't stop. Eventually, You'll build something that people actually interact with and appreciate. Then also networking is a big part of CS. You have to network with people. That's how you find business partners, you find co-founders. So maybe your app won't be appreciated back home, but if you're posting about it on LinkedIn, keeping your GitHub updated, someone out there will see your work and will be amazed by it. So just keep building. That's my advice to you, to such a person rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, and same to, like, even for me, like, I echo what you said, right? Like, just you have to keep on doing. But like you said, if you're just building something that is for the benefit of America, stop doing it. Wanataka said it. Insanity is doing something over and over again and expecting a different result. Ungo
Yeah.
building a chain in the next Facebook. Why would I look at, like, I don't know where, but recently I was watching this show, and then somebody was giving this analogy to say, you see how our girls, no, sorry girls, but this is just the analogy I was watching. They were like, our girls want to look, they get all these, hair extensions. They want to look like an Indian. They want to look like a Brazilian. And then you're like, I can see a real Brazilian right there. Why would I
Yeah.
follow you who is creating something fake when I can go to a real Brazilian who has the real hair on their
Yeah.
head when you just have the fake one? It's the same thing. So you are creating something fake when there's Facebook here. You want to create a different Facebook. Why would I go to you when there's Facebook?
Yeah.
So, like Matanda said, create things that are relevant to your community. We have so many problems in Zambia, which means there's so much opportunity. There's so much you can tap on, and there are different things you can create with whatever you have. If one solution isn't working out, try something else. And connections as well. Talk to people. Not just be in your basement and hoping, no, not the basement. Yeah. And I'm like,
uh,
oh my God,
you're now talking conversations relevant to Americans.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, that's what I had, man.
Yeah, it seems like, well, not it seems like, I'm pretty sure most of the solutions that, have blown up in the computer science world start, like, they're so simple when you really look at them, like, at the root. Like, they're so simple, and they actually solve real world problems. Zuckerberg just wanted to connect people so that they interact. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. I like the example that you brought up, Matanda, because um, electricity and power, not electricity and water are like some of the major problems that Zambia is going through right now. So maybe someone, like, one of the ideas that popped up in my head is, creating an app that tells people what time your power is going or what time your power is coming back, or it gives you alerts or something like that. So the point being, you do not have to create something grand, just create something that's actually solving a real world problem out there. And on that note, I wanted to find out, because we keep saying computer science, but it's a vast, major or special, not really specialty, but it's big, it's broad. It encompasses so many things. So how did you guys? I want you both to speak on this. How did you guys know which specialty specifically aligned with what you're good at? Because I know there's so many things under computer science that you can specialize under. And have you guys tried everything? Like, how exactly does that work?
Okay, so for me, coming into CS, like I told you at the beginning, my passion was always AI because of accessibility and stuff. But I'm not letting that limit myself. It's not just like I'm spending time doing Python libraries for AI and stuff like that. I'm using my undergraduate. Actually, I was watching an interview while they were interviewing the creator of C++, and he said that one of the major pitfalls of CS majors is over specializing, like where you spend so much time trying to gain a skill, then you graduate and then you find out that that skill is now irrelevant.
Yeah.
So I'm trying my best not to do that. So right now, I'm just exploring, like literally just having fun with it. So like right now I can use Python, C++. I'm currently in the process of learning web development, mobile development. Like I'm interested in UI, UX, like just all these different roles. Just explore, 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 and who knows, I might find something that I'm even more passionate about than AI. And I feel like once you enter the computer science space, I feel like you're agile enough to fit into any of those roles. You can do the technical work. It might just come down to things like, do I like to work in teams, or do I want to be people facing? Like, do I want to interact with the customer, or am I more comfortable sitting on my computer and coding 9 hours a day? So you have to pay attention to those small details as well. Otherwise, it's very vast and there's plenty for everyone.
Yeah, for me, I'm always uh, problem solver. Like even beyond computer science, right? Like things that drive me. It's about assisting my neighbor, assisting the people next to me and stuff like that. And so when I went into this space, what was driving me was my community back home, Zambia. I look at the problems that Zambia is facing and I'm like, what specialization best suits what Zambia needs? Like if I go into game development, Zambians don't play games. The
Yeah.
only game that Zambians play is FIFA, Mortal Kombat, and maybe what is that for shooting?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. So those are the major three games. So if you want to create something like it has to be related to that, and very few Zambians will play that. So I think of it as like, okay, Zambia lacks tech. Like when I go home, for example, I'm like, it's hard for me to find information. So what branch of computer science can I go into that can make that solution for Zambia? I realized to say no, you need to understand web development, application buildings, creating platforms where people can access these things. And that's what drove me into that branch of computer science. Like it's always looking at problems my community is facing and what can I create for them to help them, in their day-to-day lives, and that's why I chose whatever I'm choosing. But like Matanda said, like once you're in it, you're exposed to so much. It's so easy to go anywhere. It's just the focus. You can focus on this for 2 3 months, then next you focus on this. It doesn't mean you've forgotten that. You still know it, but it's just like what are you going to spend your time doing for the next for the available time that you've allocated to it. It could be 6 months, could be 1 year. What you're going to spend your time doing, but you still have knowledge of the other thing. You can easily pivot.
Yeah, and I feel
Not.
like
Mhm.
um, for you to be a good computer scientist, like you have to be good at googling stuff as well. Because most of the time, it's not like we remember all the syntax in the world when we are coding. Like,
You
five
never know.
programming languages. How are you going to remember all the libraries? It's just about, it's more about gaining I would like to say, theoretical knowledge or the foundation. I think Jackson has been saying that the foundation is very important. Once you have a foundation in a particular field, you're good. You can just Google the rest. Like if someone told me to program in, let's say, a language I've never used, Java right now, I know what I'm looking for. I know what a function is. I know what a class and object is. So I just look for the syntax and be able to apply that. So like feel free to explore and don't feel like you'll be neglecting your passion if you look at other fields. Yeah, you have all the time in the world.
A very wise man once told me the best programmer is not the one that knows every language. It's the one that knows where to find every information. That's the best programmer out there. Like
Yeah.
you go in not knowing stuff, but you know where to find stuff. Then you are
Yeah.
best at programming.
Okay. That's one way of putting it. Um, you guys have mentioned networking and connections. In Zambia, we always associate connections with, I don't know, your relatives ish and then or like it's a bad thing, it has a negative connotation to it. Um, Zambian setting, I always try to put it like that because I feel like most of our viewers are in that setting, and I want this to be so relatable to them. How do I start making those connections? I'm in Zambia, I'm a CS student, or I'm generally a university student, what are some of the practical places I can go to make some meaningful connections? One thing that I'm sad that we don't really have back home is stuff like, conferences. where we can have like-minded people in the same place. But I'm pretty sure from your guys' experience, you maybe know one or two places where either maybe people in computer science can go to, meet like-minded people, or just someone in uni. Like, what would your advice be what would your advice be in terms of making those connections?
Um, so you have to actively show interest in the field. I remember when I was in 11th grade, that was when Zambia had its first DEF CON. And I remember I literally cried to attend that conference. Like, no, don't go. What are you going to do there? And I still attended. I remember it was at Onza in the computer lab. It was a very small room. And I went there. Trust me, I didn't understand anything. These guys were talking about all this technical stuff. But I was in 11th grade. I'm still trying to figure out basic English and mathematics. Um, but I was just there. Um, and I got to interact with people in my field. People were willing to show me stuff. I even got a contact of a guy. Like, people in Zambia are doing great stuff. Who was willing to teach me web development and stuff. I was still in high school. And so that's one of the things I would advise, one of the places to go.
What was
DEFCON,
it called again?
DEFCON, Developers Conference, DEFCON Zambia. We have them all over the world. Um, that's one of the things I would recommend you look into. I don't know if they still host them now, but it was a really great experience growing up. And then another thing I would advise you to look at is most of these big companies like Google, Meta, Microsoft, they have student support resources. For instance, the Google has the Google Developer Student Clubs, which you're able to get access to if you apply. They also support unis in Africa. I actually have a friend of mine who are in the USA together, but she's the student lead for GDSC Zambia. So getting, at least just entering the line of vision of these companies through applying for such stuff is also a good way to network. Like, maybe you apply to be a GDSC lead and they check out your GitHub like that, and it creates an interaction. Um, Third of all, I just advise, like, look at companies where tech is applied, even if it's Zicta. First of all, and it's one key thing is have a LinkedIn profile. Like,
Yes.
LinkedIn isn't big in Zambia, but here once you're in university, they say make a
You
LinkedIn.
have to.
So
Yeah.
create the LinkedIn profile, and LinkedIn is really cool in the sense that you can find anything you want. And maybe someone who works at Zicta, you can DM them and say, hey, can we talk for like 30 minutes? I'd like to know about more of your work, how you ended up at Zicta. And so I just feel like diving in head first, you have nothing to lose by, don't be scared of embarrassing yourself. They'll fresh me. Like, the only way you know is if you try, but if you don't try, you'll never know. So diving to these places head first. That's the advice I give.
Great.
Yeah, I'll just echo on what you said. Like, I think one thing we lack back home is intentionality, if that is a word.
Well, you made it.
Yeah,
Like,
sounds real.
when the great says it, then it's real.
Yes.
So, like, we're not intentional about things. We want things to be delivered to us on a silver platter. Like, you need to do some work. So, there are so many opportunities out there, and there are many people that are doing amazing things back home. But if you do not extend it, even Slap my favorite Zambian rapper, say, there's a Taylor Zambia. So, like, the opportunities out there, like, God won't give them to you on a silver platter. You extend the hand, you have to reach out and grab those. So, you need to do something. So, for the people that are back home, I would say you need to, like, we keep saying network, right? But networking looks different in different settings. If you're just networking with people that you know for sure, this person is just focused on biology, and you keep networking with them, the only thing they'll tell you is medicine, and you'll be stuck in medicine. You need to go beyond that. We have a lot of companies back home. Go on their doors. Concordia, they're the guys. I want to know how you guys do your stuff. I'm a student at the University of Zambia. I'm a student at Copperbridge University. I'm a student at Cavendish. I'm a student at Eden. I'm a student wherever you are. You introduce yourself to say, guys, I'm doing this. I want to learn about this. Who can I talk to? People will guide you to these places. Even if of Kalina, you go back the following day. Even in the Bible, there are these examples of the leprosy guy who kept on knocking, I don't know, 7 times until he was helped. So you need to be that guy. You need to be persistent. The black kids say quarter consistency. You need to be consistent with your approach. You need to continuously go to these people. Like nothing will be handed to you. Like this is life. It's not. I don't know whatever you think of, but you need to keep on asking these people. There are many companies you can go to. Well, guys, I'm doing this. I want to learn how you guys did this. They'll be able to teach you. And then, like Matanda said, like LinkedIn, I know like it's not a big deal back home, but please set up your LinkedIn because it's the only or one of the few professional social platforms. So if you want to interact with somebody on a professional setting, you use LinkedIn. So if they see your LinkedIn, they see the stuff you've done, then they might be inclined to engage with you and help you in one way or the other. So build those if you can.
I was actually. Oh, sorry.
No,
I hope I'm not interacting.
No,
I was actually listening to. I listened to Radio Christian Voice still online, even though I'm here. And one of the guests was a guy who worked in CS, and apparently he found a remote job as a software developer from someone in the US, and it was through LinkedIn. Like they wanted to set up a shop in Zambia, right? So what they did is basically they looked for software developers in Zambia on LinkedIn, and then he had stuff on his GitHub as well. So I'm sure there were a lot of software developers that popped up, but he was the only one with evidence of his work. They checked out his work, they liked it, they linked up, and that's how he got his job. So, and you can imagine how much he's making from that. So just by being proactive and showing his work, being on LinkedIn, showing the initiative, like Jackson has said, like he had the initiative to do all that stuff, he was able to get a job. He didn't look for that job. The job actually looked for him. So as long as you're willing to take the first step, people will actually want to network with you as much as you want to network with them.
Yeah. Okay. In the same vein of networking, I feel like one thing I always try to echo on the podcast is the issue of having good mentors to guide you through. Um, who has that person been, or who have those people been for you, Matanda?
Mentors. I have a lot, and a lot of people have really impacted my journey thus far. And I don't just like to have like one mentor. I feel like I break it down into like social mentor, academic mentor, and career wise mentor. So, but I'll stick to the career aspect. So when my big sister's husband's brother-in-law is actually I know that's a lot. He's actually a computer science major. He runs a startup in Botswana. So you can say he's relatively successful in the field. And so whenever I feel stuck, I usually give him a call, like I'm trying to learn this, what direction do I take? One stuck between, should I learn Python or HTML? Which one do you think would be best? And he'll talk me through, helping me make my decisions. But then he's not the only one. Like I have my peers as my mentors as well.
Yes.
Like I remember when I first, don't neglect your peers. Yeah, that's what I tell the people listening to. Like a lot of wisdom can come from them. I remember when I first arrived to the USA, Nelson, you were one of the people that talked to me, like gave me the pre-college talk. You, Ope, Monondano, they gave me advice. So, and you always call me once in a while to talk to me. So I'd also consider you my mentor in a way. But
you hear that, Jack? You hear that?
But yeah, make sure you also have peers around you that are willing to support you and your instructors in college can also be your mentor. I know the people back home, like classes at Unzaya, 70 of you, some of you are even standing. But I doubt after that class if any one of the students is taking the initiative to follow up with their professor. And yes, some professors might be mean, but there might be one or two who are willing to help you on your journey. And so again, take the initiative. It doesn't have to be someone you know. It can be
Yeah.
someone you meet online. Even Jackson can be your mentor. I can be your mentor if I have the skills that you require. So yeah.
And just adding on the Unza thing, right? Like I was at Unza, so I know the setup there. And at Unza we have the lecturers, then we have what are those called? The tutors and the TG groups.
Yeah.
Uh, there are labs. There are so many people that you can interact with at Unza. So when we say mentor, we're not talking about somebody who's like overly accomplished. They've done a lot of stuff. Mentor is just somebody who can give advice to you on something that you might not know. And those people, because they are in a certain position, they might know something that you don't know. So having a conversation, even if it's like a 30-minute, even not even 10 minutes conversation with them, you might learn a lot from them. So I used to be like a victim as well. There's a and I could teach it a series
Yes, Lord.
and stuff like that. I never used to have that conversation. It's only after that I was like, I think I would have learned a lot from those people because they are in that position because they have more knowledge than I do. Kukamba tena wewe wako shabiri mulishe abusta cha anista so why busta vaso hivi akucheza ni Mr. Vaso because okay, so what's the plan after this? In that conversation you don't know how relatable that person will be to you and what relationship can grow out of that. So mentorship doesn't have to be somebody who's way accomplished. Normal people can be mentors as well.
Yeah.
I like that you bring up that point, and I think it circles back to what we started on. You guys, we had first of all talked about how our education system kind of lacks that practicality and the application of whatever you're learning in the real world. And you guys later on said, even here in the US, you guys are just given the theory part of it, and you take the initiative to learn by yourself. So it seems everywhere that's where it's done. Everywhere that's how it's done, right? Like they'll give you the bare minimum, and you have to put the meat on the bone. So why is it that we are complaining so much back home about just being given the bare minimum? Does it then come down to an issue of mindset? We ourselves are not asking enough questions, or are we too comfortable in our setting? Like you said, once you learn something, the next thought is, okay, I'm done. I end up bonding, pick a cansima, need same thing, happens all over again. So is it maybe a mindset thing? Should we just be encouraging our peers, our friends to just, look at things on a deeper level, on a higher level? And because to me it seems like that's just what's going on. It's like we are not driven enough to ask questions.
I feel like it's both a mindset thing and it's also the system. Like I said earlier on, the internship is a big part of
The curriculum.
the US education experience. So, and for you to get an internship, you have to have projects in technical fields like us. If you're in a science-based field like Nelson, you did biology, right? You have to have research experience and stuff like that, like on-campus research experience for you to get better internships. And so I feel like here the system is designed in a way that despite them giving you the bare minimum foundation, they also push you to put the meat on the bone they've given you, in the sense that you won't go anywhere if you don't do it. While back home, they give you the bare minimum foundation, and then there's nothing really to push you. And the internship is a key experience of the education system here. Like back home, it's heavily academic, and that's one of the things I found it difficult to navigate coming here. Because like back home, you just study for 10 hours a day. you get your 90%, you're happy, they buy for you like a present. But here you start you start doing your 9 hours a day, you get your 90%, you have to do interview prep, coding interview prep. Like that was really difficult for me because like there's so much more expected of you. You have to network. So it means it's not just like the smartest guy locks himself in his room. You'll find the smartest guys going to a party, talking to people around campus. You are
Yeah.
just there with your grades, no job. So I feel like if it's a system they've created here, they know, they have it in mind. They know that once we give you this, you have enough to do this, and this will lead to the internship, which will lead to the job, etc. But back home, we don't have that. They just want you to pass your exams, etc. That's why you find someone has graduated, and I feel like that's okay for maybe someone who's doing medicine, and even the doctors, like they go to UTH to
Yeah.
do their practicals. But someone in CS, you just pass your exams, but you have nothing to show for after you graduate. So I feel like the system has to change, giving students more opportunities to actually apply the stuff they learn in university.
Yeah, I actually want to hear what Nelson's take is. Like, it seems like most of us who are like in CS and other fields, we see the medical students and people in, all these biology related fields, they do some sort of internship, like they are forced to do that. Like, is that helpful? Should the other fields consider that as well, or there's something lacking even within that?
I think in medicine, it's kind of embedded in the system. You have to do an internship. I don't know if it's called an internship or rotations, whatever it's called. It's embedded in the system. So you do the first 4 years as a theory, and then the next 3 years as just practicing whatever you're learning. So you're rotating through, different wards, I guess, whatever they are called, different specialties under medicine. So that way you're getting that, first-hand real-world experience, and you're learning to think on your toes and stuff like that. And I feel like that's super helpful. Which is why it's really hard to have like a doctor who isn't very knowledgeable, because you cannot go through that entire process and not even pick up one thing at least.
Like you were done that.
Yeah. I don't know how you manage that to finesse the system. So, which is what I'm trying to preach here, right? Like, I feel like every major should have that. It needs to give you that feel of a real world experience. It doesn't matter what it is, even if you're doing economics. Have I don't know, pick an economy in any world economy or any country's economy. See the problems that they have.
Zambia.
Try to make exactly. Try to come up with solutions. And we have real data to back this up. Most of the things are public, so you can make informed decisions about this. So maybe, like Matanda said again, we do not have a system that's the difference between back home and over here. Here the system, yes, it gives them the bone, but then it also has the meat embedded in it where you can take out from it. But back home, we do not have the meat. So you have to like be creative with that. Except for medicine, which already has it embedded.
But like, yes, the system is, it doesn't help us as much, right? But I'll give myself as an example. And yes, I had the help of my organization. But when I completed high school, I was interning at Bookworm, the best stationery shop back home. Shout out Bookworm. Like,
They do not sponsor this.
I don't want to shut them up. But like, I was interning with them. Like, it's an internship. I had to have a conversation with them in what they are. And then after that, like, I still had the option of going back and talking to them. I'm like, guys, I have nothing to do for the next 2 months. Can I work with you guys? Can I intern for the next 2 months? So, like, yes, we don't, the system is not helping us, but there's still something we can do outside the system. You need to be proactive. Guys, I'm good at this. That's how I call ABCD. I need to be doing some work. And they can give it. It doesn't, people go medicine. And the only reason why the medical students do it is because it's required. If it wasn't required, to be so determined.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. We also have to start reaching out. Like I always say this, everyone has like a dream company that you want to work for. Just reach out to them, you know. Even if we've heard so many stories of people who just started from like the lowest of lowest. You know, even if you're just there, you know, logging people in, who walks out. One day you meet the manager, you have a conversation with them. Even if you don't meet the manager, at least you're in that setting. It will do something to you. You know, you will either get inspired to go further or something like that. But you know, just don't sit around. There's so many companies that you would want to work for. Even like in my field, you know, I can easily go to UTH. So many places, so many universities in Zambia that I can go to and just do my research from there. So I feel like it's a mindset. We need to do more. Like we need to be more daring. I think daring is the word. We're too timid. Like Matanda said, back home the most intelligent person is the quietest person.
The quiet
It-
is.
yeah.
Why who knows that truth, right?
That's it, you know. You know, the most
But
intelligent person is out partying, but that partying isn't really just partying, you know. It's networking
Absolutely.
because you never know where you meet your next employer. So, you know,
I do the
everything
chase
has,
zero, I tell you, I'm zero.
Zero one zero.
no, you're dumb. You can't speak up for yourself.
Yeah. And I feel
Yeah,
like
I think,
that's one of the key perspective changes that has to happen back home. Even the thing for humility. One thing I noticed that Zambians were very humble. I don't know if you guys struggled with that coming
Yeah,
here.
I
yeah,
did. I did.
You
yeah,
try to downplay your achievements here. If you don't boast, sell yourself, no one
yeah,
would care. Like you have to show what you're capable of. Back home, they'll say, "Ah, he has a big head, is boasting." No, if you've done something, you've achieved it, you have to be able to sell it to other people. No one's going to know unless you tell them. It's
yeah.
nothing to do with humility. You won't eat. There's always that the closed mouth doesn't get fed.
I was just about to say
Yeah.
that.
I've been in rooms where you know they tell someone to introduce themselves, and the first thing they go, you know, my name is ABCD. I've won ABCD. I've been to ABCD. I'm like, this was supposed to be the introduction, so you know you get to see that, like Matanda said, you're selling yourself because you don't know who's hearing out there, right? So if you mention something that they might be interested in or something like that, then they'll pick you up. But back home, you know, the Matanda way, you know, Matanda, you know.
Yeah. As if I just mention my school, they know that I'm the
They
highest
know.
at this school.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, yeah.
But how did you navigate that, Matanda? How did you finally get out of your shell? Because I mean, it's our culture, right? It's in us.
Yeah.
It's something that can sometimes work to your disadvantage. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Like there should be an aspect of humbleness, but you also should say what you're about. So how did you
Yeah.
navigate that?
Um, One way I've navigated that, first of all, here, like, I don't know if you guys did it at school, but we have a lot of career preparation. So advice, right, like this 30-second elevator pitches. So it's something
Yeah.
which we actually have to actively practice. So you find a way to embed all those things, 4.0 GPA, that, stuff
Yeah.
like that, in your elevation pitch. You see
Yeah.
how I embedded the 4.0 GPA within our conversation right now.
Yeah. Okay. You're learning. You're learning.
I'm actually selling myself, but it's relevant to the conversation. So there
Yeah.
are people who actually just yap, like they're just saying the achievements. Like it can be a bit overwhelming, like without relevance.
Yeah.
But you can also find places where you can embed your achievements. For instance, when someone asks me, like, which places in the US have you visited? Most of the time, I say the place I visited and why I visited it. For instance, I was in Atlanta. I attended the pitch competition there, and actually my team ranked in the top 4 out of 25. Then I was in Portland, Oregon. I went there for a math conference. I was one of 3 students from my school to be selected. You see, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not just yapping. I'm telling you why I went and why I went there. So you have to be strategic about it, but it's something you have to do. Don't sell yourself short. Like you've achieved, it's hard work to achieve stuff. and you should be able to talk about it. And write it down. Write a 30-second elevator pitch where you put your achievements in there.
Yeah. It's funny. One thing I've also noticed is quantifying things actually helps, because you might say you're top one out of one, like you're the only one and you're number one.
Yeah, it was automatic.
Yeah,
They always
Wait,
were one. The probability was one.
can
yeah,
I step out for a bit?
yeah.
Right, no problem.
I was about to ask. I forgotten what I was about to ask.
Sorry for that. My laptop was about to go off, guys.
No
Not
problem.
fresh. So I'm using a laptop, ET.
MacBook Pro 14 inch.
Suliambo, boy. Suliambo.
I'm
2000 USD.
Correct. What question is about that shit? Anyway, yeah, getting out of your shell, I feel like something we've all had to go through. How did you manage it, Jack?
Okay, like for me, I'm always like need talkative, I mean. So like in some settings, nimakamba kamba maningi. But I'm also like I'm the thin ends of both sides. I'm very humble, but when I talk, it's makam. So like I'm never in between. And the way I navigated that is I know what I've done, I know my capabilities and stuff like that. And the moment somebody gives me a window of saying you can talk about yourself, in what's your good advice? It is so like it was easy for me because here they encourage you to talk about yourself in that way. And so it's not like I didn't talk like when I'm with friends, the guys in the sky. Ni machaya, mathematics, mukali, muchalo, kubanga ni chile. I know that stuff, but I don't say it out loud. But with the moment somebody gives me the opportunity to say that, I'll be like, yeah, now you've opened the gates. I'm the best at this. I can do this. So it's not. It wasn't like I didn't have the information already. I had it, but I wasn't just chilling it out there. So when I came in, they were like, we encourage that. I was like, Mosegura Dome to have a number of bones. Like even I always make this joke with my friends. I was like, one thing I hate about LinkedIn is that if you go on LinkedIn, you find somebody did something so simple, but when they talk about it, like
I'm
make it seem
telling
as
you.
best. It's the best thing that can happen to me in life.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't believe this. Today I woke up. You're like, you're expecting something grand. Yeah, I just woke up today. And I was like, this is gonna be an amazing day. I'm like, one more time, I think you are making it seem as if it's a big deal. But that is encouraging. Yeah. And so when they opened that window for me, I was like, oh, so I can talk about all these things I know I am good at. And it was easy for me to tell them that, yeah,
I feel like that also just instills some level of confidence, which is a good thing. You had previously worked at Examination Council of Zambia. I remember this is one of the conversations we had. How was that experience?
Tenzo Makiga.
Yeah, like how did you land that? How was your experience?
So when I graduated grade 12, I told you I wrote SATs, blah, blah, blah. So while I was waiting for my decisions, this advert for ECZ came out. They're looking for seasonal clerks to do work. And they release it they look for current school leavers. So once you get there, you write this aptitude test. It's not a simple test, let me just say that. It's actually, it's ECZ. And so I worked there twice. That's 2019. 2021, marking the 2020 papers, and 2021 to 2022, marking the 2021 papers. And each time I had to write test. So what we basically did there was we marked grade 7 answer sheets
Mm-hmm.
because those are multiple choice. What were machines? We just had to make sure the machines were running, and it was tedious work. We actually worked night shifts and stuff, but
Mm.
that was the first time I saw big money before before coming to the USA. Like the pay was actually really good, and so I had a great
Mm.
time there. I met some lifelong friends
Yeah.
while I was there. I have a friend, and they really you get to really meet smart people. If you talk about networking, like if you're a school leaver and you want to meet people who you know are going places, that's one of the places I be. For instance, I met this guy. We were working together in the 2021-2022 Ibrahim. I told him about New Seasons Youth Program. He was actually applying to the USA, got rejected as well. I told him about New Seasons Youth Program. So he came an intake behind me in the class of 27, CS major, and right now he's interning as a SWE at Meta. So you see, just being at the right place at the right time. Without if he never
Yeah.
met me, he would have never known about New Seasons Youth Program. If he never knew about
Yeah.
New Seasons Youth Program, he wouldn't be at Meta today. So it was one of I feel it was like one of my key shaping experiences in my life. It was great.
Wow. That's such a big organization, eh? So like, was it just the grade 7 papers or grade 9 or?
No, okay, everything to do with multiple choice.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
as because they couldn't allow us to mark grade 12 papers because you might know friends and stuff. So only grade 7 and 9. And yeah, it's a really big organization. It's like really secretive. You're not
Mm.
allowed to use your phones while you're at work. Anything you
Mm.
see is confidential. Yeah, it's a whole different world, but it's a great place, great people, smart people. Everyone is really kind, and yeah, I had a great time there. But
Wow.
though you see that there are a lot of things that can go wrong. So if your results came out properly, yeah, I should thank God.
I need to blame people like you. It's my not that like we are made of someone.
You see an answer sheet on the floor, you put it up there.
Mm. Wow.
did, did I mark this one? So yeah, you really get to appreciate. You really get to realize that you take small things for granted. A lot of things would have gone wrong with your results, but yeah,
Wow.
it's a great place.
Well, sweet, sweet. I'm glad such organizations exist, and we wish them smooth operations. One major thing about coming to the US, or one question that we are all asked during our visa interviews is, "Do you plan on coming back to your country?" So I also asked that question. Do you plan on going back to your country?
Do I plan on going back to?
Uh,
Being honest, no, I don't. I plan on starting like my own startups in Zambia and stuff like that.
yeah.
But no, I feel like the quality of life I'm trying to live, it will be very difficult. Vazani itana mfuiti kunyumba. But yeah,
Okay.
like there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity here, and like I said, this is the heart of tech. Like there's so much to do, so much you can take advantage of here compared to back home. And so, God willingly, I'll be given the opportunity to stay here and pursue my career and dreams. Yeah.
Jackson has something to say.
Yeah, like I'm just wondering, you come and the could be opportunity for. But I see like for me, opportunity lies in where problems are. And when I look at this country, they've achieved a lot of stuff, like you said. It's the hub of technology, they've advanced so much. And then when I compare what these guys have done to what is available back home, I'm like, there's so much growth that Zambia needs to encounter. So, in my opinion, there's so much opportunity back home compared to here. Why do you feel that's the other way around? Why do you feel you have to stay here and not go back home where I feel like there's a lot of opportunity?
Yeah, actually, if you ask my friends, I usually tell them that the future of tech is in Africa. I believe there's opportunity, but staying, like, why do I want to stay? There's opportunity. Like I said, my tech startups will be back home, but to stay, I feel like it's here. Like the money, if we are being honest, the money is here.
Hmm.
The money is here. Like the opportunity is back home, but all the money is here. Like all the investors, the people who are willing to invest in your stuff, they're all here. So regardless of there being opportunity for growth back home, we need to also look for opportunities to get the money to build that growth. And that's one of the key things that's here. But eventually, when I'm an old man, I'll go back home.
65 years old.
After I retired.
So how does that work in your field with the investors and stuff? Can you be in Zambia and actually like get the investors to invest in you if your like idea is legit? Like
If
how does that work? Because I'm looking at it from a standpoint, right? Of you're saying you'd like to have a startup in Zambia, but you won't be in Zambia. So how effective would that be?
How effective would that be?
Yeah, because you
So
want
if you have
background, Steph.
yeah, if you have a good enough idea, then you have investors. Like sometimes there are actually competitions where, again, I recently heard of this guy who won a competition and then he was taken to Google, not in the USA, one of their companies abroad, um, because of his app, and they said they'll buy the app or something like that. But if your idea is good enough, yes, it's possible to get investors. But again, the thing of networking, here
Yeah,
you might be talking to someone, you don't know the person's a millionaire, but you're friends. And so
yeah,
getting investment will be as easy as a phone call to your friend. Say, yo, bro, I'm starting this thing. Will you be willing to invest? As compared to cold emailing and stuff like that. And so I feel like in that sense, finding people to invest, and you have platforms like Y Combinator, accelerator platforms, where you can actually
yeah.
go pitch your ideas. And then working startup back home, but you're here. The other thing I say is that a good a good computer scientist knows when an app is not necessary. Like
Yeah.
not every problem requires an app or a website. Like there are actually physical problems why you need machinery. Like I don't need to be there to run a machine. I'm not a farmer. Like so I believe it's possible for my startups or my ideas to run perfectly without me. And I'll be there. Like remote work is now all the rage. Like people are working their offices in San Francisco, but they're in the Netherlands working online. So I
Sweet.
believe that's the culture we can also introduce in Zambia.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, I mean, I see the angle you're taking, and we do need a lot of like investment in our country. And hey, whatever way you can contribute, I'm sure the motherland will be super happy. Jackson, any thoughts?
Yeah, because I'm like the exact opposite of what you're talking about. For me, I need to be there. Like I'm gonna stay here for a while, but I have to be back home to see the change. But that comes down to, I think, passion. Like what exactly are you passionate about? So I would like to know, when it comes to Matanda, like what's your passion? What do you believe you are meant to do in life here? What drives you to do what you do and stuff like that?
That's a
What
deep
what
question. What are you meant
what?
to do?
Now this is becoming a philosophical discussion. What's my purpose?
What your purpose in
Hmm.
life?
Like I said, I started studying CS to solve problems back home. I said that in our initial, when we just started the interaction. And my primary interest is AI research. I want to be an AI research scientist slash software developer to increase accessibility to tech. And so for me, that's what keeps my wheels turning. So, and again, remember we talked about relevance, right?
Mhm.
Um, there's no way I'll be going to do AI research in Zambia. Like Zambia is it's still far away. Like well, we don't yet have the basic technologies. We're not yet at AI level. Like AI is our systems are not yet ready for AI. And so me doing AI research and being in Zambia, it would be like I'd be out of place. And so that's one of the main reasons here is also looking like the optimum place for me to be, because the field I'm trying to chase is really advanced. But for my startups, I'm still passionate about the problems I'm trying to solve. And so it's not like I'll wait. I'll still try to solve those problems, despite me being here, working on my personal passions as well, like trying to advance myself. I don't know if that makes sense for you.
It does, but then another question rises. You say Zambia is not yet ready, but is there anything you can do to make it ready for the AI and everything that is
So
about to come with technology?
is that everything we can do? That's actually a conversation I've had with my friends before about the entire Africa and AI, but specifically Zambia. There's the thing like we can't catch up like where tech is at. Is it possible for us to catch up, or we have to skip an entire generation of technological advancements and then dive right into AI technologies and all these futuristic technologies in order for us to catch up? And I feel like that's a complex realm to navigate, because again you have to be look at like not everyone in Zambia knows even how to use a phone. Imagine what ChatGPT would do if you take it to a village. Like, what would they use it for? So I feel like we have to take gradual steps and introduce it in relevant ways per se, the way we established earlier, like in ways that are relevant to our community. I feel like it would be possible to integrate AI, but it would be a huge leap from where most people are right now.
I think you're looking at it at percentage wise, and you are a real computer science for doing that, and I understand. But like there's like even the 10% back home that we're looking at, these guys are well versed in technology.
Yeah,
Like
that's
they
true.
even right now they know about ChatGPT and
ChatGPT.
everything that is going on here. So like why not use those as the starting point? Why not create something for those? Then those that can help spread the word and Zambia can get well versed. Because if we keep waiting and say I'm waiting for 50% of Zambia to know about these things, we don't know when that will be. It could be 20 years, 30 years from now. We don't want to wait that long for Zambia to be where we want it to be. So why not create something for those that 10%, and then those 10% can help spread that and
Yeah,
make.
that's true. That's definitely something that can be done. But the issue of going back home just to
Come guys. That's what I'm about to
Johnson is trying to convert me.
The guy is like, I don't want to go home. Man. Let's get it.
Nah, it's not like I'm not completely opposed to the idea, but I feel like I definitely do want to help back home. Like that's one of my ultimate goals. That's why even at UNS, I was comfortable with the fact that even if I graduate, I might not have a job, but I'm still going to do this CS thing because I saw a future for it back home, right? Um, but there's that you can stay somewhere else and pray for your home. Like I don't know.
Is it your home if you're not staying in it?
You can pay for it, you can pay for it.
Ah, you're Matanda. I don't know about that
But no,
one. Who said that?
it's insane. I, I hope my immigration won't be watching the podcast. Otherwise, I'm in problems. But
No, I think it's we all look at life differently, and I think it's also important to have this conversation, right? Because maybe Jackson is the one looking at things differently, and you are looking at things differently, so we need to find that intersection and see how we can educate each other. Because just kind of speak on the topic, right? One of the admirable qualities that most Americans have is that they're so patriotic to their country. No one would develop their country aside from themselves. So maybe that's one quality we can take, right? And it doesn't involve you going back home, right? But just like we are saying, it can look differently according to so many different people. So it's just interesting picking your mind on how you plan on going about it.
What
Yeah,
about you,
as long as
Nelson?
I'm getting back home, I'm here, man. I'll be back home. You can use me as your point of contact. I'm gonna do the things back home.
Yeah.
Nelson, what about you? Do you intend on going back home or what's your plan?
My field is kind of interesting in a way. The plans that I have are really home based. Um, Science in Africa is really we just receive the science, we just apply it. We never really do the research ourselves, right? And that's something that I do a lot here. I'm basically a researcher, so I want to
Yeah.
gain enough expertise and take it uh, to an African setting, a Zambian setting. How are certain diseases impacting us? So my work, like long term, is actually back home. Over here, we do a lot of research on like Caucasian uh, donor samples. So we are doing a lot of research on diseases that are affecting white people, right? So I want to be the change that will drive that conversation in terms of what are the diseases that are affecting black people, and how does stuff like geography, where you're born, or your environment affect how you respond to certain diseases, right? Or certain things. So that involves me being back home. I cannot be here and say, hey, and silent cough, so hey, fiamane kashani uko naomba." And again,
Yeah.
that's just particular to me. That's what I've been passionate about, and I've tried to model my entire life in such a way. And if you want to do it opposite, I do not mind, but I will echo what Jackson is trying to say. We have to be the change that we want to see in the world, and no one will develop our country if we don't. No one will
Yeah, that's
push your
true.
country to all those levels if you see the problem. Say, okay, this country has to move through these levels, and you just wait and until it moves. You have to at least start driving that. And if you do not want to, that's okay. I do not hold anything against anyone. But again, going back to what I said earlier on, we have to be patriotic about our country, and no one will develop it if we don't.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
But again, you can pray for your house and still be in another house. So who
I,
knows? Who knows?
I do.
So going back to, oh, Jackson, do you have any other question? Points?
Nah, no, no.
No. Okay. You guys have something in common, which is very weird. You guys both make beats. You guys are both
Really?
Oh, you
in.
never beat Matanda.
Yes, sir.
You know I'm a rapper.
Yeah, rapper.
I'm a rapper, bro. Let me see if I can.
Oh no, please no! He's a whack rapper.
Nah, let me play this one.
I have
This is
actually
my
something.
song.
Should
This
send
is
it
you can
something.
find it on Spotify. My name is Versus. I'm a gospel rapper.
Nice. We should share links after this.
Oh, for sure.
Let me see. Let me just play one song that I've done. Uh, I can't find it. Where is it?
See how the Lord works, Matanda.
I say, this is the
Eh?
networking. Who knows? Maybe we'll come back as musicians, not investors.
Like, do you produce beats for real? Because next year I wanna release an album. So I have my personal producer. He's gonna be producing this. But if you wanna produce one of my songs, we can talk. But this is the song I'm talking about.
Yeah. Eh,
Anyway, I'll send the link to you. Maybe you can do it at your own time.
yeah,
But
it's
I do
same.
music. I do music. I'm
That's
like a
cool.
gospel rapper. So like when I say gospel, I mean a message that has meaning, that can teach people something. that can
Yeah.
help people grow spiritually, and that's what I try to bring out there. So if you're a producer, we can connect.
Yeah, we should definitely connect.
You've made some sick beats. There's that one that you did of Somebody Great. I think it's like a mashup or
A
something
remix.
that, yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
That was
I mostly make dance music, like electronic dance music. So when you think of Kuma Club or Kuma Festival, like the people are jumping and stuff, that's what I'm into. But we can work on some hip hop for you. We can I can do a
well,
lot of
that's a
beats.
night. I cannot sing.
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah, yeah,
manager.
let's do
I'm the
something.
manager. Oh
Let's do
gosh.
that. At least one song you can produce for me. I'll appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll definitely get to work. You said next year. By next year to be ready
By
to.
next year, I wanna release my album.
What's the album title? We already know.
I mean, I'm debating. Is it gonna be full hour? Like full armor? Like when I talk, like the purpose of my album is to
Yeah.
show people to say there's stuff going on out there, right? But you have the capability of overcoming those. So, like, I'm a gospel rapper, so I use Ephesians 6 as my guide. Ephesians 6 says there are going to be a lot of tribulations, but you need to have the full armor of God to be able to withstand whatever is going on. And it explains what the full armor is. You need to have the word, you need to have the breastplate, you need to, there are all these things you need to have around you to be able to overcome these things. And I want to use that concept to, outline my album. I have like 3, 4 songs already written. I just have to keep on adding. I want to have like 20 song album, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it next year, but I want to have so many songs, and hopefully I can release it to people and they can enjoy it.
Well,
Let's
good
go.
luck to you. I know Matanda is already thinking of a beat right now. He was just like, is there anything you wanted us to ask you, Matanda, that we haven't asked?
Do I have a girlfriend? Maybe there are girls watching.
By all means, go for it.
I'm very passionate about women's movements. I'm 6'2". No, I'm playing. Yeah. No, not really. It's been a great conversation. I had fun hanging out with you.
I have a couple of like would you rather questions. I don't know if you mind answering this.
Let's go.
So now the first one is, would you rather travel back in time to meet your ancestors or travel to the future to meet your descendants?
Travel to the future to meet my descendants.
What is that?
Why is that? Because like I'm trying my best to create something that will last way past me, and so I'd like to see if I did that, or maybe my descendants still have to toil for them to eat.
Nah, I
Yeah.
get you.
That's a good one.
I get you. The next one. Would you rather work in a job you love but make little money, or work in a job you hate but make a fortune?
It's Matanda. We already know that.
Now I would like to work in a job I love but make little money. I feel like even most people when they say CS they think about money and stuff. Like when I wanted to do CS as a kid, I told you I didn't know anything about money. I didn't know what six figures is. I just knew that I wanted to solve problems. And so even like right now there are a lot of layoffs in the tech space. Like I'm not really phased. I don't mind working at a startup making 1,000 a month. But yeah,
We'll
if
see.
I love, of course I won't be working there. But I feel like time flies when you're doing something you love, or something you hate just feels like hell. So definitely passion over money.
Nice. What about you, Mazu?
Of course, it's passion over money.
Are we saying this just because of the podcast?
Hey,
So you just want me to say the opposite then? Oh.
What about you, Jackson?
Hey, what about you?
Guys, I've already stated, what drives me is solving problems for the community. So for me, it's the passion. The passion
Yeah.
comes first. Like money for me, it doesn't really matter. For me, money is like how successful I am is determined by how much impact I bring to community. So for
Yeah.
me, it's always gonna be the passion and
For
not
me,
the
money
money.
matters. Money matters a lot. But as long as, like Matanda said, as long as I have a roof on top of my head, food in my belly, I'll take my passion all day.
Yeah. Would you rather what's this? You do not have the ability to speak to animals or have the ability to speak all languages in the world.
The ability to speak to animals.
What the hell are you talking to animals about?
Now imagine you have a lion and then you're able to communicate. Or
And
you're
then
able
what?
you're able to say like calm down, we can work together. Or
It won't come down.
you're able to ride the cheetah's back because it's your homeboy. Like I feel like it would just be dope. The Disney kind of stuff.
Second last, would you rather live in a world without music or live in a world without books?
Live in a world without books.
Dang.
Yeah, I can see no music here. Yeah, we'll be back together.
I feel like music has been acknowledged time and again as like one of the highest art forms to ever exist. Like no other art form offers the experience that music does. And I feel like our ancestors lived without books, they're able to pass down knowledge and stories through word of mouth. And so
How has that worked out for us?
how has that worked out for us? You don't know stories from back home. Nah, but
We don't know what was diluted or not.
But yeah, I feel like a world without music would be bland. And it's not like even the people who read books, it's not like they're reading books 24/7. But music, you trust me, they listen to music more than they read books.
Yeah,
Everyone does.
that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, the last question for me, would you rather be invisible or have the ability to fly?
Invisible, that one's invisible.
Why? From there, I want to
Or when it's time to close ShopRite, you just go. Yeah,
Sounds like you've
but I
always
feel
wanted
like
to do that.
but I feel like flying looks really fantastic like when you're watching a TV, but if you think about it practically, like you're flying across the ocean just there yourself.
I'm here, man. It must be like it's
If you think about it, like it doesn't make sense unless like you're flying at supersonic speed, so you're here and there. But invisibility is so cool. Like it's actually practical. Like we've been saying, very applicable.
nagera wakumbuza kuti wenda ine kwazonazo ndakukuongera mwaito suzaziyo
The guy just feels mbama. My village people are following me. Yeah.
Anyway, in closing, any last advice, anything you'd like to share before we close the podcast off?
Yeah. So to the CS people and to people in general, like just take the initiative and don't let your surroundings be a limiting factor to your dreams. Like just because you're in Zambia, it doesn't mean you can't be the next big thing. Like I'm sure the people on this podcast and everyone who's made it to the US for school, like one thing we all have in common is that we had big dreams even before the US. And so it's the only difference that's been we've been offered the opportunity to chase them. So be like these guys beyond borders, dream beyond borders. Yeah, you'll be able to achieve more than your immediate surrounding offers. And again, take initiative or always take the first step. If you're willing to take the first step, you'll find people to help you out along the way.
Well said. Well said. Well, you heard it from Matanda. Take the first step, and the second step will be easy, hopefully. My name is Nelson. That's the great, and our guest has been Matanda. Until next time, see ya.
Peace out.